Welcome, guys. How's it going? We are doing a virtual podcast today, and we have an incredible topic we're getting into, which is Quench. What's going on with this? Why we love it? What's the big deal about it?
Yeah, so the Quench, it's all about the Quench book, right? So you got these two doctors, an anthropologist and a medical doctor. They got together. They figured out all these people in the U.S. are dehydrated. The anthropologist, she followed desert tribes around, and she's like, well, none of these guys are ever dehydrated. And they're like, okay, well, what are we doing wrong in American society? Why are 3 out of 4 Americans dehydrated? So the Quench book's just about optimizing hydration, which ultimately is going to optimize recovery, healing, and just the passage of nutrients within your body as well. So massive stuff, very simple. We love it.
Yeah, have you all been, and we have Dr. Tim, Dr. Lee, Dr. Ashley on the show today. So yeah, welcome everybody. So as you hear their wonderful voices coming in, you know who's on the show today. Is this something, have you guys all been doing? I mean, Tim, have you been doing this?
Yeah, no, definitely have been. In different ways. I mean, definitely for myself, one of the main things that I've been doing in the mornings, especially, is I've switched over to doing a smoothie in the morning. And I've been doing that for probably a few months now. And really, it's just kind of based on some of the principles in the book, some of the things that I'm putting into the smoothie that really enhance hydration in the smoothie itself. And even just doing that. Now, I'm doing other things throughout the day as well, like adding certain things to my water. We can get into that, like certain things like citrus, chia seeds, anything like that really helps the absorption of water in the body. But even for myself, I've noticed with the smoothie that I'm doing, where I'm also putting other things in there that are known good for hydration, like celery, cucumber, ginger, different things like that I'm adding into that. I've really noticed, one, a spike in energy for myself, less fatigue throughout the day. And kind of a cool thing that happened with that as well is I've been doing it for about a month. And then I got my dad onto doing it because he watched me do it one morning when I was up staying with them. He's like, what's going on with that smoothie there? What are you doing? And I kind of showed him what I did. And he's like, that sounds kind of cool. I might want to try that out. So he tried it out. And actually, interestingly enough, within the first, I think, week and a half of doing it, he dropped 9 pounds, just shed it right away. And it was really for him, I think what happened is because of all the different things that I'm putting in that smoothie, especially the things that are related to the Quench book that we're talking about, really just helped his body detox, right? Got a lot of gunk out of there, and just really helped. And he even said helped improve his overall energy levels as well. Where he was doing a morning coffee all the time, and he found that he didn't need to do that anymore. So his energy levels were up. And I've noticed the same thing where it's if I have the smoothie in the morning, I'm pretty much good to go for most of the day. It's if I have any caffeine, it might be towards midday, but really just improved energy levels through what I've been doing with that smoothie. And then also, like I said, adding in some water enhancers throughout the day as well that kind of help with hydration.
Okay. So you're doing it. Dr. Tim's doing it. Dr. Ashley, have you been doing this protocol?
I have been. Actually, when I started working here is kind of when I started to jump on the Quench train, and I'm a huge fan. I definitely try to do it every day, mostly in the morning and in the evening. And I think I mentioned this before or have talked about it in the office before, but I'd say if I'm staying consistent with it and I do it for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks max, I'll notice myself going to the bathroom less, meaning that my body can potentially be retaining more water, which is actually awesome. And, it's kind of crazy that I'm only doing it twice a day and drinking water throughout the day as well, but not as much as I would normally, and still feeling like I have the high energy levels. I'm able to do what I need to do throughout the day. I'm able to drink coffee, have a little bit of caffeine, and not get too dehydrated too quickly. And I think it's just great that I don't need to drink 8 cups of water a day to feel hydrated. And it's just a great tool, I think.
Okay. All right. So I'm not on the Quench train, but now you got me intrigued, right? And I imagine a lot of our listeners, they're not on the Quench train. And help us understand, so it sounds to me like it has something to do. So it has to do with hydration. Dr. Lee, you framed us up on kind of where it came out of, which is just kind of some science and some study on a variety of different people who maintain hydration levels and why, and then kind of contrast against other groups who don't maintain hydration levels, like most of the US population. So what if we're going to break down like maybe a core set of fundamentals or key takeaways, or what the Quench, what it's all about? How would you explain it to a person who's never heard about it before?
Yeah, so I mean the basics, the most basic thing that we need to understand is that water in the body is a lot different from water in the cup, right? So we know there's three phases of water, where we've got like our water vapor, which is the gas form, like you see it in the clouds when you look up in the sky. You've got the liquid form, which is what we drink most of the time, and then there's the solid form, which is ice, right? And that's just going to be cold. So over the past 20, 30 years, there's actually been, I guess, a sort of discovery almost of the fourth phase of water. So like in the human body, it has like a gel-like, I guess, viscosity to it. So with that, it actually has a different alignment of like all those atoms and electrons in there. It's, instead of it being an H2O structure, it's actually more of a honeycomb structure of like an H3O2. And this is really well studied at UW, actually, University of Washington. Dr. Gerald Pollack, he came out with this book, Fourth Phase of Water. There's a lot of really good podcasts about it if you're not into reading too much. And Rhonda Patrick's another one that goes into a lot of that science with Jack Cruz on light. And it's fascinating stuff. But at the end of the day, as long as we're getting that structured water, that fourth phase, when you intake that, which most of us are doing that through plant fibers, like whether that's fruits or vegetables, like that fiber is essentially a sponge. It holds on to that structured water, that fourth phase. And when we intake that, you can't digest fiber in your stomach. You digest it in your intestines. So with that, it's kind of like a time release capsule of that water, that hydration. Not only is it a better structured water for us, but it bypasses the stomach, where a lot of water gets made into hydrochloric acid when we're trying to digest stuff, so stomach acid. And it goes right to your intestines, where your body absorbs it immediately. About 99% of that water is going to get absorbed. So it's a more efficient way of getting your hydration. And it also gets into even bigger things that we don't think about for hydration, which include movement, light, minerals, different electrolytes, things of that sort, which can all play a part in keeping us more hydrated. And as Ashley talked about, helping us retain that water rather than excreting it.
So it's almost like we're eating our water.
Exactly. That's kind of what they talk about. They kind of hammer that in the Quench book itself. It's a really easy read. I recommend anybody that like is interested to go check it out, like get a PDF or buy the book, get an audiobook. It's a really quick read. I think, partly because I'm nerdy, I read it pretty quickly. So I just recommend, if you're looking into that science, it's really cool stuff, very intriguing.
Okay, so kind of, it sounds like it's relatively easy to get started with some aspects of the Quench, and probably like anything, you don't have to do every single step of the protocol to see a number of benefits.
Right. I mean, the biggest thing that they hammer is that if you have a cup of water and you eat a piece of hand fruit, like an apple, that's actually better than you having 2 cups of water. You're going to have more effective hydration from that. And that's partly because of the plant fibers and just the way that the water is structured in that food itself.
And Tim, how does that translate over to your smoothie or your shake?
Yeah, it kind of translates over in terms of what Lee was saying, in terms of having the fiber and like kind of like from those fruits and vegetables in there, and like the things that I'm putting in there, like in the book, they talk about certain fruits and vegetables that tend to be a little bit more hydrating than others. So some of the ones that I mentioned before were kind of like the celery and then cucumber. And then I'll also put like different fruits in there, like mango, which is a good one as well. Sometimes I'll put some apple in there. I usually put like orange in there as well, not just the juice, but the actual, like, the whole, not with the peel, but like the orange in there itself, get a little bit of the fiber from that. And then one of the things I also put in there is chia seeds. And chia seeds are a big thing that we tell people. And that's kind of one of the water enhancers I was talking about before, where you can add like ground chia seeds to your water, which actually then, like Lee was saying, makes it more absorbable further down the digestive tract, like going into the intestines, kind of time release there. So you get more hydration further down that as well. So it's just kind of through those things that I'm putting into the smoothie, obviously adding water to it as well, that really make it so that, like, I'm not only getting hydration by drinking it, but I'm getting hydration later in the day by those things that are then getting absorbed through my intestine, like, small intestine, large intestine. So it's really, and that's why I feel like I feel the benefits from it like throughout the day. And like, especially through the first part of the day when I'm drinking it, because I drink it usually over like an hour to an hour and a half. My smoothie's pretty big. You don't have to make that big of a smoothie. I will say
that's
that.
a big smoothie. Like an hour to consume your smoothie. Is it like the full pitcher smoothie? It's like it's a smoothie that could feed a family of 8 is your pitcher.
It's a Dr. Tim size smoothie. So anyway,
it's about 2 hours. Just saying.
It's a little bit, but anyway, so it's like, but I put other things in it too that kind of like, I'll put like a collagen protein in there, and then like put some hemp seeds in there as well, and then like a couple other things that I put in there, like I usually put some raw oats in mine just to get some like extra like long-term carb in there too. But anyways, you don't have to do all those things, but basically it's like, when I say I drink it over an hour and a half, I'm usually seeing patients during that time as well, so it's kind of like in between. It's not like I'm just sitting there for an hour and a half slugging down a smoothie. But anyway, like through those things that I put in it, it really does help with hydration throughout the day. I've noticed a benefit in my workouts as well, because I usually work out at the end of the day. Definitely notice more energy going to those workouts, even after a full day of work. So really, it's just kind of having the fiber of those fruits and vegetables to really make it so that I'm benefiting from that, not just when I'm only ingesting it at that time, but then later going forward in the day from there.
Okay. Yeah, no, this sounds great. I mean, it sounds like this would be something too that would be beneficial if you do have like a nice blender, like a Vitamix or something.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of options there to be blending different foods in high water value foods to make, either a meal replacement or a snack that is much more beneficial than just grabbing like a bar or something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I've really, really noticed a difference for myself doing that with the smoothie. And then even like Dr. Lee was saying before, it doesn't have to be a smoothie, right? It doesn't have to be something like that. I mean, even just ingesting these fruits and vegetables kind of like throughout the day is going to help you out regardless. I just tend to do it earlier in the day that way because it makes it easy for myself to get all that in.
It almost like it gives you another reason why you should be, kind of rotating into that plant and vegetable world. We know there's so many benefits to having a plant-based diet, meaning, that the bulk of your food is some kind of a vegetable or fruit type thing or nuts and seeds, but a plant-based thing. And this seems like it just kind of gives us an additional reason why, because it can be tough. I mean, sometimes it's tough to feel like you're getting in enough vegetables or fruit, right? And it's like, but here I think oftentimes what we need to do is just value stack why we should be getting certain types of foods in a greater abundance. And I think this becomes a whole other angle to be thinking about in terms of why you should be having more fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and whatnot in your diet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, that's exactly a great way of putting it. And I mean, I think a lot of people maybe not a lot of people. I think there's a decent amount of people that realize they're probably not hydrating enough throughout the day. And I think there's probably even more so people that aren't hydrating enough that don't realize that they're like not hydrating enough, but they're feeling the effects from it and they might not know why, right? They might not understand why they're more fatigued. They might not understand why they're holding on to more like water weight, or they might not understand these different things about like, I'm not performing as well in the gym. And really it's like, I think that there's a lot of people that don't understand really like how to hydrate and how to do that well. And I feel like this is just a very good way, an easy way, like you were saying, Barry, to kind of get into that and really get started on that, where, you don't have to just be chugging water all day. You can do these simple things, eat these certain things that are really going to help you out more so than that.
Well, it's interesting because I think a lot of times if you just sit down with a person, be like, all right, let's make a list of healthy habits you want to start building. Almost every single time, drink more water shows up on a person's healthy habit list, right? I mean, it just shows up all the time. Yeah, it's like, I know I need to be drinking more water. I want to drink more water. And I think what's interesting about this is we're saying, yes, you do need water, and drinking some of that water is great. But even, to supplement that or to get to that end result even more effectively, or maybe with more benefit, would be to drink some of your water, but then to be consciously eating some of that water in some specific foods that are you get a lot of bang for your buck on. that's great. I mean, because that almost alleviates a little bit, or it feels like more doable to me than to kind of hit these hydration goals. And so instead of thinking about like a water goal, we might start thinking about in terms of a hydration goal.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I think that ultimately we can just track like our fiber intake. It's like that's one of the easier things to get into. But you can't be taking in fiber like a Metamucil, where it's like a dry fiber. Like we've kind of already gone over. We need more of those plant fibers, like from the vegetables or the fruits, etc. And with that, I mean, I think something that needs to be mentioned is that we live in a very protein-heavy diet society, like where we really emphasize our protein because we want to build muscle, we want to be strong, we want to be capable. With excess protein consumption, though, the only way that our body gets rid of that is through urination. So if we're drinking too much protein powder or we're eating too much meat, that's going to ultimately dehydrate us in the end. And oftentimes we can just switch out some of that meat for like something green. Realistically, that's probably the easiest thing that we can do right off the bat. Either something green or something fatty, honestly.
Yeah, we are protein obsessed and meat obsessed. And people can start getting nervous when you talk about eat less meat, or decrease their protein, right? And when we say plant-based diet, there's like maybe a fearful jump into, well, I don't want to be a vegan. It's like, and that's not really what we're talking about. And we're not even talking about becoming a vegetarian. We're looking at really smart choices in pretty simple, easy choices that you can make. Well, you're going to feel better. It's going to have an impact on energy, thinking, physicality, recovery, inflammation, all this stuff swings in the right direction when we make some of these dietary choices. I mean, really what we're talking about again is like, how can you use food as a form of medicine? How can you use food in a very smart and intelligent way to put yourself into a better spot to have a great life and feel good during the day and have a great week and put yourself into a place where you're going to win?
Absolutely. Performance enhancement.
Yeah, totally.
So I can attest to that. Definitely does. Yeah. Yeah. It helps out a lot with that.
So we're kind of getting ready to get on the hype train with this, right? I mean, so we kind of had a fun idea that we were going to designate a whole month of hype, getting super excited and just sharing all kinds of stuff on social and on the show and with patients around the benefits of Quench. So why don't you guys talk to me a little bit about what our game plan is and what people can expect and how they can kind of get their pre-hype on for November?
Well, we just kind of designated November as Quench month. So with that, we're just going to try to do our Quench protocol every day for the month of November. We're going to be essentially just trying to create like a paradigm on social media on our Instagram to just have people follow along, tag us, use some hashtags. Essentially, just trying to see who's in. Like, are you in, Barry? Are you going to do the Quench?
I'm going to take the Quench challenge in November. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've already been thinking about it. I've already been thinking, as soon as we started talking about it, I was like, I got the sweet Vitamix. I'm going to take some oranges and some limes and put them in there with some tequila. And it's going to be ice. And I'm going to make these insane frozen margaritas. And they're going to be totally Quench margaritas. Yeah. So it's going to be like healing me and hydrated me. And it's going to be, I can't wait. But yeah, I'm in on Quench challenge.
Not trying to do Quencharitas yet.
It's a juice cleanse right there.
Yeah. No, I did have some that were made like that and they were delicious. I was like, you're putting the lime in there, like not the skin, right? They put like they cut it out and they put the orange. It was so good.
Well, I mean, just because you mentioned it, I feel like almost like I have to. I mean, we all know about scurvy and like pirates taking limes on their long trips and things like that. And the more that I read into Quench, the more I realize that it probably wasn't just the vitamin C in the limes as much as it was kind of the entire hydration mechanism that was allowing them to absorb more minerals and just be more, eat less, but have more nutrition absorbed just from that alone. Mm-hmm. So,
that's really interesting. Yeah. Oh no, I'm pumped for Quench Challenge. So tons more coming on that. And it's something that we're going to follow along. And maybe we'll even put together just a quick little one pager on what you need to do to kind of get into the Quench Challenge and what you should be doing on a daily basis. Of course, we'll be offering up, you guys will be offering up and sharing just your personal journey with it. And then, of course, you can get the book. It's a great book. You said it's a pretty easy read.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's super easy to read, but I'd say just pay attention to this next upcoming week. We're going to start dropping more and more stuff on Instagram, give you some direction to go in instead of just trying to cut you loose and have you try to figure it out on your own. So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be there, guide everybody along. And like Lee said, really just follow along social media and everything like that, because we're going to be posting a lot of different pictures, videos, things that we're doing at not even just in the clinic, at home, like how we're like, staying on top of our hydration and really just challenging people to do the same thing. And really just kind of like show people how different and how much better they can feel going through this.
I'm pumped. I can't wait. Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see the Dr. Tim Quench shake recipe that I can use to feed my family.
It's it'll be good. There is going to be a video on that, so that we can look forward to that.
Ashley, do you have any secret recipes that you're going to be sharing?
No, I mean, I think the biggest thing is people. It's a convenience thing. The Quench, you intake less. You don't have to drink so much water in a day. You got to switch it up. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is that even before I never used to drink a lot of water, but you put things in your water to enhance your hydration and it makes it that much easier. And I feel like that's where a lot of people mess up, is that it's just inconvenient for them to go drink some water, fill up their water bottle because they're so busy. Easy excuse to make. But if you are valuing the types of things that you put in your body to enhance the hydration that you're getting, it becomes so much easier. And you can create that habit stacking for yourself to continue to do it and really reap the benefits of it. So, I mean, I feel like we're all on the Quench train. Everybody should get on the Quench train. Try it at least. Give it a go for a week. Actually, the whole month if you can.
But you could get started and give it a shot. Kick the tires over a week and see how you start feeling. And then you probably feel so good, you just keep going.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just got to do it.
All right. I can't wait. I'm super excited. I mean, because I've been trying to drink a gallon of water a day. And that's how tough. It's a tough goal to hit.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot of water.
And you're
not sweating that much out. You're just going to be peeing that much out.
You're saying what you're saying is it's probably too much water to be drinking. It's probably leaching minerals and whatnot from my body because it's too much drinking water and not enough eating 100%. Water.
Absolutely, because water doesn't just flow in and out. It has to take minerals and vitamins with it.
See, doing it all wrong. Just like so many other people out there who've never heard of Quench, messing their water intake up.
It's going to be fun.
Right, cool.
It's
going to be super fun. And I'll share my Quencharita recipe as well. And that'll be a video I commit right now to making that Quencharita video for you guys. Awesome. Well, this is super exciting. So we're going to drop this in when you're hearing it, if it's in October, which is probably when you're going to be hearing this episode, then keep your eyes peeled on social. I think we're going to be blowing up the Instagram, but you never know. We might throw some stuff on the old Facebook too. And we can't wait to share more about Quench and get you all amped and ready to rock and roll as we get November and tackle the whole month as a Quench month. It's going to be fun. We're going to be in it together. And I think it is going to be something that a lot of us are going to be feeling better from.
100%.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thanks, team, for being on the show today. Until next time, keep eating that water, and we'll talk soon.
Love it. Sounds good.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Yeah.